In the shadows of a sacred altar, a sinister secret unfolds. Pastor Ezekiel, a revered man of God, hides a dark truth behind his charismatic facade. As he preys on the innocent, one brave soul, Ada, becomes the key to exposing his evil deeds. Witness the shocking tale of blind faith, betrayal, and the unmasking of a monster in The Altar of Deceit. Get ready for an exciting journey filled with engaging stories, fun adventures, and moments that will inspire and entertain you. Your support means the world to us, so don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel to keep you updated when we post something new, and share with your friends and loved ones as we embark on this amazing journey together. Once upon a time in a village called Umuahia, where the rivers danced under the sun, and the market square buzzed with life, there lived a man revered as a beacon of hope. Pastor Ezekiel, he wasn't just a man of God, he was considered a divine emissary, a miracle worker who brought hope to the hopeless. His sermons were magnetic, his words powerful, and his presence commanding. The House of Grace, his church, stood at the heart of the town like a towering monument to faith. Every Sunday, the pews overflowed with worshippers, some traveling for miles to witness the wonders of Pastor Ezekiel's ministry. Tales of barren women conceiving, the blind regaining sight, and even the dead rising spread like wildfire, solidifying his reputation. With his flowing robes and a voice that could move mountains, was a symbol of divine intervention, Pastor Ezekiel had built a reputation on miracles. He was said to have healed the sick, brought barren women their long-awaited children, and even raised a boy from the dead. His sermons left the congregation in tears, moved by his apparent closeness to God. But for all the light he exuded, there was a shadow, a darkness that lurked behind the pulpit, hidden from the adoring eyes of his followers. Ezekiel's rise to prominence was swift, almost too swift. Years before, he had been a traveling preacher, barely scraping by. Pastor Ezekiel had been an unknown itinerant preacher. He roamed villages with nothing but a Bible in hand and fire in his heart. People pitied him more than they revered him. That was until he disappeared for nearly a year. When he returned, he was unrecognizable. Ezekiel was no longer the frail preacher, he was a man of immense charisma and newfound power. His sermons were electrifying, his prayers transformative, and his miracles undeniable. Rumors swirled about his absence. Some said he had gone to a mountain to commune with God, others whispered he had visited a powerful oracle in a far-off land. What no one knew was that Ezekiel had made a pact, a dark covenant that demanded an insidious price. Villagers whispered about his unusual practices, late-night prayers where only select female members could attend, sudden disappearances for days on end, and strange symbols etched into the walls of his private chamber. But anyone who dared to question him was silenced by his overwhelming charisma and the tangible miracles he seemed to perform. Among the members of Ezekiel's congregation was Ada, a 16-year-old girl with a voice so angelic it seemed to carry the very essence of heaven. Ada was the pride of the church choir, her solos often leaving the congregation in awe. Life hadn't been easy for Ada. She had lost her father at a young age and lived with her mother and younger brother, scraping by on the little her mother earned as a seamstress. Despite their struggles, Ada's spirit was unbroken, and her voice brought light to those around her. Ezekiel noticed her. He praised her during sermons, often pointing to her as an example of God's grace. This child, he would say, is destined for greatness. But behind his words of praise was a predatory intent masked by his sanctimonious demeanor. One Sunday evening after service, Ezekiel approached Ada as she was packing up her hymn book. "Ada," he said, his voice low and gentle, "I have received a vision concerning you. The Lord has a special blessing in store for your family, but it requires your faith and dedication." Ada, eager to bring relief to her struggling family, listened intently. "Come to the church at midnight for a private prayer session," he continued. "This is a sacred matter, so tell no one." Ada's mother, a devout follower of Pastor Ezekiel, encouraged her daughter. The pastor is a man of God, she said. Whatever he asks, do it with all your heart. As the clock struck midnight, Ada made her way to the church. The church was a haunting sight at night, its towering silhouette casting long shadows under the pale moonlight. Ada entered, her footsteps echoing in the vast, empty hall. Ezekiel was waiting at the altar, surrounded by flickering candles arranged in strange patterns. Ada, he began, you are chosen. Tonight, we will call upon the heavens to shower your family with blessings. Pastor Ezekiel stood at the altar, his face illuminated in an unsettling way. We must cleanse your soul for the blessings to manifest, he hissed, his voice sending shivers down Ada's spine. He handed her a drink, claiming it was holy water. Unbeknownst to Ada, the drink contained a sedative. As she drank, Ezekiel's eyes gleamed with a sinister intent. Ada began to feel dizzy and disoriented. As the sedative took hold, Ada's eyelids grew heavy, and she felt herself being lowered to the floor. Pastor Ezekiel's hands roamed over her body, his touch making her skin crawl. In a daze, Ada felt Ezekiel's weight on top of her, his hot breath on her neck. She tried to push him away, but her arms felt like lead. Just as Ezekiel began to further exploit Ada, the church doors creaked open. Emeka, the church janitor, had forgotten his tools and returned to retrieve them. What he saw froze him in his tracks. Pastor Ezekiel on top of Ada doing the unthinkable. Emeka didn't hesitate. He ran to the nearest homes, banging on doors and shouting for help. Within minutes, a crowd of villagers stormed the church, their lanterns casting an angry glow. Ezekiel tried to explain, but his usually persuasive tongue failed him. The villagers found the symbols, the candles, and Ada stayed too damning to ignore. The mob dragged Ezekiel to the village square. Under the weight of their accusations, he broke down and confessed. His miracles were the result of dark rituals, and his so-called blessings came at the cost of innocent lives. He revealed that his power was sustained by the suffering and defilement of pure souls, and Ada was to be his latest sacrifice. The villagers were horrified. Women wept, men shouted in anger, and Ada's mother collapsed to the ground in disbelief. Ezekiel was beaten and banished from Umuahia. As he was dragged away, he cursed the villagers, vowing that they would regret crossing him. True to his word, a series of misfortunes began to plague those he had manipulated: miscarriages, failed businesses, and unexplained illnesses. Ada, though spared from the worst, struggled to recover from the trauma. Her once bright eyes now held a shadow of fear. But with time and the support of her family, she found her voice again, using it to warn others about blind faith and the dangers of placing men on pedestals.